Welcome, everybody. We'll be starting in just a minute here.
Good morning. My name's Nate Otto. I'm board president for this year. I go by he, him, his pronouns. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation. We are a religious community who commit ourselves to diversity. We hope to nourish human differences, those of gender, race, age, ability, sexual orientation, political views, culture, class, and religious belief. Welcome to all who treasure freedom of conscience in the search for truth. We promise to do our best to provide you a spiritual home. We extend a special welcome to our visitors today. We hope you follow our Facebook page and to participate in Zoom and receive announcements about special events in our religious exploration classes. Please sign up for our weekly email. There should be a link in the comments section on our Facebook page where you can sign up. One quick note this morning, don't forget to sign up for attendance at our evening holiday services. These will be held only in person. We are asking for people to RSVP for the early or late service for the winter solstice and Christmas Eve events. There are links in the UUC newsletter, UU Connections for those, and for UU Connections for those watching online today. Thank you to all who are joining us in person and online this morning.
Good morning. I'm the Reverend Julianne Lepp. There is a miracle with sound. In opening to joy, we can think about all of the holiday things that happen. Sometimes we just need to sit home and enjoy the snow, and sometimes there are some wonderful events happening right here in our congregation. In fact, downstairs right now, the RE, the Religious Exploration Children and Youth, are doing the holiday gift shop. And this is a very special event where they buy items for $1 and then they get to wrap them to give their own family. And that means a lot. I remember Kendra, when they were about 5 years old, gave me one and it said, "To Mom from Heaven." And I just bawled because they said, "This is from your mom who's not here with us anymore." And so that was so sweet. And also after service, we're going to be having a holiday party, and there's going to be gingerbread houses, and there is hot cocoa to go. And I know we've all missed coffee hour, but there is going to be, as you leave, if you would like to get some hot cocoa to go with the holiday party, our hospitality amazing people will send you off with a hot beverage. So as we continue to open to joy about how to be together, I just invite you to pay attention to the announcements in your order of service or online. Especially this Friday, this upcoming Friday, we still have a lot of spots for the blood drive that we're doing here at UUC. And opening to joy by celebrating life and supporting life is a great thing. So we have, I think, Ken let me know there's 20 spots filled out of our 31. So we still have quite a few spots still to give. So thank you so much for being with us today, and I hope you're having a great start to your holidays.
Good morning. I am Linda Mays, and I am your worship associate for this morning, and I use the pronouns she, hers. I am so glad to be here today, and I am thankful for your presence, those of you who are here in the building and those on Zoom and on Facebook. I just think it's fantastic that we can gather in so many ways. And those who are in the building, I don't know, I'm just enjoying that sunlight coming in and the shadows that are sometimes bouncing off of the walls. This morning's opening words are a reading by Carl Seberg, and the reading is called "Let There Be Joy." Let there be joy in our coming together this morning. Let there be truth heard in the words we speak. Let there be help and healing for our disharmony and despair. Let there be silence for the voice within us and beyond us. Let there be joy in our coming together.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Stephanie Turner, and I am going to light the chalice and invite you to join me in reading the words on your order of service. Let me do the chalice lighting first. There we go. Protocol. We Unitarian Universalists don't drink from our chalice. Instead, we use it to hold the flame. The circle of the chalice helps keep the fire small. The flame doesn't blind us. It doesn't burn us. It gives us light so we can see all the different things in the universe, even the invisible ones, because the Unitarian Universalist flame is a light of learning.
Some of us are struggling with sorrow and grief, but are afraid to reach out for help. Some of us are sick of ourselves and others, but don't know what to do about it. Some of us just want to be ourselves, but it seems that other people might not let us. Some of us want to make the world a better place, but feel overwhelmed by the forces of inertia or self-interest. Some of us aren't sure what we need, but hope that we can find it here. I'm going to invite you to join me in the words found in your order of service. We gather in this community, sometimes in fear, sometimes in trust, sometimes in pain, sometimes in joy, but always in hope that we can support and strengthen one another in our common quest for healing and wholeness.
Joy is Hard by Reverend Joe Cherry. Joy is hard. Joy requires us to feel safe enough, to be safe enough to open to vulnerability. To feel joy, we must be brave. Joy walks into a room after the space has been cleared of shame, cleared of doubt, cleared of self-recrimination. Joy is hard. Joy is hard, and joy is worth the hard work of preparation, preparing oneself and setting down all the defenses, all the should-haves and could-haves, all the should-not-haves and might-haves. But joy is worth the work. We are worth the work. You are worth the work. And we can start small. The simple pleasure of our favorite tea, the grand freedom of a full belly laugh. May we invite joy to be our companion. This morning, our 50-50 Share the Plate recipient for December is the Bolton Refuge House. Bolton Refuge House is a service provider serving individuals affected by domestic violence, intimate partner violence, sexual assault, dating violence, or stalking. They are the only emergency shelter agency in Eau Claire with support staff available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And your donation makes a difference in people's lives. On your order of service, you can scan that little box to donate, or you can text 84321 to give. If you would prefer to give on-site a donation here, there are drop boxes in the gathering room right at the back of the sanctuary. It is with gratitude for the abundance in our lives that we give to help people in need and to support the work of this congregation. The offering will now be given and gratefully received. Talk about joy. Thank you so much, Julia. That was called The Joyous Life. Isn't that perfect? Let's respond together. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. Perfect. And now a reading by Andrea Mason called Witnessing the Miracle. In this time of waiting, sitting quietly as the skies darken and the days grow shorter, when all is outwardly tranquil, while readiness builds and grows within, we sit quietly, waiting, dreaming a dream and hoping for a miracle. And if the soldiers come to disturb the dream, breaking the tranquility, we will rise up against them, taking back our dream, and the oil, only enough for one night, will burn for 8, and we will be witnesses to the mystery of a miracle. And if the authorities call us for counting, demanding our attendance, but there is no place for us to lie down and rest, we will find fresh straw and gentle animals to create a bedchamber, and we will be witnesses to the mystery of a miracle. And if the ones who believe that only they have the truth come to tell us that we may no longer celebrate the wisdom of the ancients, we will cast a circle so we can dance. The moon will rise, shining her face upon us, and we will be witnesses to the mystery of a miracle. So we will sit quietly as the skies darken, waiting, filled with anticipation, dreaming a dream, hoping for a miracle. And just before the skies gain light, when we are at our most tired, when despair begins to crowd out the hope and the dream, there will be light again. And then all the waiting and all the hoping and all the dreaming will give way to joy.
So opening to joy. I think about a flower that is trying to open, and right now I have cats that are too curious about plants, so we had to find the perfect place where they wouldn't eat or destroy my plants. So I've got a mantle over my fireplace in our house, and there's 3 tiers, and it's really exciting because it's on the other side of the room, so I don't always pay attention except for when I'm watering the plant. And I went over there the other day, and my African violets, who are temperamental, difficult plants, I love them, but they're kind of difficult. And the pink little blossoms had opened up, and I just felt this surge of joy. And I thought, wow, that's a gift. And it sounds so simple and ordinary, but isn't that what it's about? We spend our lives thinking that perhaps we should be climbing Mount Everest or discovering the cure to cancer, or I don't know, being brilliant, smart, successful, beautiful, all these really unrealistic things that maybe we can be those sometimes. But we don't really live our lives on these peaks that the media or our expectation might say that we should be in. Instead, if we can celebrate these ordinary moments, these times that happen in our lives that show up, and we think about the unexpected guests that show up in our lives, those times when we can feel that joy unexpectedly. Wanted to share a practice called joy spotting. Now, this is a bit like train spotting, but designer and author Ingrid Fettel-Lee encourages everyone to intentionally look for joy every day. She adds that the life to this simple practice is called joy spotting, and she has an article about it. She says, whereas I might not have looked twice at the orange traffic cone on the street, now I savor the pops of color against the gray sidewalk. Whereas I might have ignored the man sitting next to me on the subway, now I notice his polka-dotted socks and I smile. And if you ever notice, I usually wear different colored socks. So that's my point of joy. I don't like to match my socks. I like to discover which ones will happen. So today I'm wearing 2 black socks. It's a miracle. Anyway, she says the world seems to be teeming with tiny, joyful surprises, and all I have to do is look for them. So we think about that as, sometimes we go through life with our head down, and we go through our task, and we wash our clothes, we pay our bills, and the world seems heavy. And sometimes it feels almost wrong somehow to expect joy, right? Like when there's a lot of tragedy or the coronavirus news, and it feels heavy. And I really liked this writer who was interviewed by Krista Tippett on Being. He said, how can you not expect joy during hard times? How can you not expect joy? And I think that is such an invitation to see the crack of light. And, if you've read accounts of how people survived the Holocaust, how people have survived horrible things, sometimes it's through music or joy that they find in little things. I know the story of in the concentration camps of the person who smuggled books, and it was I think a 14-year-old little girl who was the librarian, and she would give out books, and that little hope of being able to read in the midst of so much oppression. And not even a year and a half ago, people in Italy who were in quarantine, opening their windows and singing across to each other and saying, it's like singing, we are here, there's joy, there's life. And I think if we can remember that, it helps us get through. And it's not that we exist on these peaks, because our lives would be shallow if we just existed on this level, right? I mean, our lives are full of difficult and challenging things. But it's that resiliency and that what Brene Brown calls positive vulnerability. And man, I hate that. I don't want to be positively vulnerable. But being vulnerable allows us to engage with one another. It allows us to have authentic conversations. This morning, someone asked me about something in my life, and my normal answer might be, oh, it's fine. And instead, I had a 5-minute conversation about some really difficult things. And that person shared with me some really difficult things. And we both went on, and we're better for it, because it was real. I said, oh, I'm fine. But we're not all fine, are we? We've been through one of the hardest events of our generation to go through this pandemic. And the pandemic is not over. The pandemic's not over, but the light is still coming in. When we hear about antivirals and all the things that nurses and doctors and scientists and good-hearted people are doing to get us through this. And when I think about the little vaccinated buttons that the kids are wearing because they're so excited they got their vaccination, we can all be a part of that joy. Brene Brown in Daring Greatly says, joy comes to us in moments, ordinary moments. We risk missing out on joy when we're too busy chasing down the extraordinary. Scarcity culture may keep us afraid of living small, ordinary lives. But when you talk to people who have survived great losses, it's clear that joy is not a constant. Without exception, all the participants who spoke to me about their losses and what they missed the most, they spoke about ordinary moments. If I could come downstairs and see my husband sitting at the table and cursing the newspaper, if I could hear my son giggling in the backyard. My mom sent me the craziest text. She never knew how to work her phone. I'd give anything for one of those texts right now. And this happens to me each holiday season. I think about the traditions that I used to have with my mother. And, it's been 21 years now since we lost her. But I still think about, how we would decorate the tree. And she said, Julie, you were my littlest angel. And I remember her picking me up, and I would put the angel on the tree. And I'm 47, but my heart still goes ding-a-ling-ling, when I think about those memories, and I think about how can I find those moments of vulnerable joy, and lay underneath the tree and look up at the twinkling lights, smell the pine or the artificial tree, whatever, and see the world in a different way. For some of us, coming out of our houses has been difficult. And some of us never were in our houses. I was talking to someone who worked at Mayo the entire pandemic, and he said, I've been out in the world. I never ordered my groceries. So I'm not the right person to ask about this. And then there's others who are still shell-shocked and still wondering, how can I interact with the world? How can I have relationship? What is safe? Am I safe enough? And I think that's a question, after trauma that we ask ourselves. And for me, I remember the first time we gathered here, I think it was summertime, and we had an outside sale, and someone got close to me, and I literally jumped twice because they were close to my body and I felt unsafe. We were wearing masks. And they said, gosh, Julie, you're really jumpy. And I said, yeah, I am. I am jumpy. And I realized that in my body I had all of this anxiety and fear. And so I've spent time figuring out, how do you unwind, and this is just my own personal journey, is how do you unwind that fear? And I think it is, you think about winding up a clock, and it has to let go. And so I've been trying, and I've noticed that other people are trying to find moments where you can let go. And some of that is that positive vulnerability, finding places to laugh, and even when it feels inappropriate. I remember my niece danced on the grave next to my mother's burial, and some of my relatives were like, oh, I can't believe she's doing that, and we loved it. She was dancing with Yaya, her grandmother, and we still tell that story to her. That was her joy. And some of the ways that I've found is like getting massage, because we carry things in our body. Some people find that running or doing yoga or finding ways to feel okay, at least for a moment. And so unwinding is a way of opening. It's cracking ourselves open. And another quote from Brene Brown, I'd argue that joy is probably the most difficult emotion to feel in a culture of scarcity, of never feeling safe, certain, or sure enough. Joy can feel like a setup. We're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Scarcity and fear drive foreboding joy. We're afraid that it won't last, or that we won't be enough, or that the transition to disappointment or whatever is in store next will be too difficult. We've learned that giving into joy at best is setting ourselves up for disappointment or inviting disaster. And as we struggle with our worthiness, do we deserve our joy, given our inadequacies and imperfections? What about starving children or war-ravaged world? Who are we to be joyful? And then I answer that, how can we not find joy? And we think back again to the people looking for that crack of light when everything seems so dark. And to know that you deserve it, it's a way that people survive. It's just like babies that need touch in the ICU, or people who are isolated. We've seen people who are isolated that go down quick. People's health during the coronavirus was affected by isolation. And so by showing up in spaces where you can be fed and have connection and feel joy is that positive claiming of life again. And I think, it's like, what is the new normal? I don't know. I can't wait till we can burn the heck out of masks and but maybe mask will be part of winter. We don't know. We don't know. What is normal? But what we do know is that we deserve joy. And I'm going to do something really silly and really silly because have you ever heard of laughter yoga? Yeah. Well, I'm going to laugh, and I'm going to be vulnerable up here, and I'm just going to start laughing. And if you want to laugh, you go right ahead. If you want to stare at me and be like, oh my God, I can't believe she's doing that. But I'm going to start, and if you feel like joining me, you go ahead. Ha 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 ha! Woo! Ha ha ha! Ho ho ho! Merry Christmas! Oh! Ha ha ha! Oh my God! Woo! I'm breathing. Dang, that felt good. And the silly laughs, they gave way to a real laugh, right? And sometimes we fake it until it comes. And being silly and putting on different colored socks or whatever is your invitation, I hope you will find joy. Those moments that hold you, and know that joy can come again. It's like that unexpected guest, the angel at the door that Rumi talks about. So, thank you, and amen.
Thank you, Reverend Julie, for that. Apologies for forgetting to read. I didn't realize there were 2 more lines I had to read earlier until I sat down. So anyway, now we're going to extinguish the chalice. So would you please join me in saying the words printed in your order of service? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Joy doesn't simply arise, it flies. It flings. No, it is flung. It's passed. It is spread between you and me, and you and you and you and you and you and us and we. I made that up. That's not from his. It is spread between you and me, between the one who just received a gift and the one that has been looking for it a long time. It's a beautiful and elegant contagion over which we have more control than we think. If only we share it, if only we notice that it's not ours to keep, but ours to pass on. So let's light up the world, friends. Joy blesses us with exuberance so we can make the blessing grow. Today, may we all go in peace and go in love and go with joy. Yes.